Hello. Our daily life is filled with technology at this point more than ever, especially the internet. And it would be a pretty common sight to spot public Wi-Fi nowadays. They can be found just about anywhere at any time and can be connected on a whim of the users. A daily phenomenon we are living with, in fact. Yet most people don't realize the dangers lurking behind the scene. You see, just a simple tap on your phone and you're in for a quick treat, at absolutely no cost even. But is it really? Is public Wi-Fi safe? Always? Let's have a look at this case. At this very point, your username and passwords have already been stolen. Do you realize how the attacker got your username and password? Let's go back a bit. Do you notice anything suspicious in the address bar? Let's compare this to address bars. At first glance, this is merely an ordinary address you can come across anywhere. But do you realize that one of them has site certificate, while the other one does not? Because one of them is a fake site set up by an attacker. But how does the attacker do it? How is one of the sites fake, even though both of them have the same exact domain name? Let's go into detail what the attacker did. For the users to be able to access the website, at least 4 components are needed. First, a client such as a PC, a tablet, a smartphone, or anything in particular that can connect to the internet. A routers for accessing the internet, a web servers to serve the site to the client, and finally the DNS server. What most users don't realize is that although the addresses they type link to the specific site they want to go, the computers on the other hand do not understand what those really mean to begin with, mainly because they have their own language. Instead, the computer sends a request to the all-knowing DNS server. Think of it as a translator between you and the site you want to go. Once the request is acknowledged, the DNS server will provide an IP address of the site, a digital equivalent of location. Now, this is what is interpreted by your computer and ultimately direct you to the site. For this case, this digital bridge is eventually exploited by the attacker. The first and foremost requirement is to trick the target victim into connected to the attacker's router, which in this case is the widely available public Wi-Fi. Earlier, we briefly mentioned how the DNS server is an important translator. But did you know that this is automatically chosen by your router by default? With the attacker's very own routers, he or she can configure the default DNS server and eventually confuses the location your address supposes to link to. Now, this fake DNS servers then provides a fake IP address, for example, directing the victim to the attacker's fake site. Once the victim lands on that fake site, the attackers now wait for that delicious personal data to flow in and collect them for his or her own use. In this tutorial, we will use an open source program called Bind as a tool to help us set up a local DNS server in Windows 10 operating system. Once we are done with the installation process, we'll get on to the configuration files in Bind directory. Now, since we don't have any other DNS servers in this local network, we will leave the allow transfer options to none, as it will not transfer any zone information to any host. Here, if the user requests for domain name which is not in our DNS server, we will forward that request to other DNS servers. In this particular case, they are 8888 and 8844, which are Google public DNS servers. We want to send back the zone information to any request from the victim, so we'll set the listen on to any. For the zone information, we'll set the zone information to domain vwin.co.th, which is totally not Professor Girl website. Up next, we link all of the subdomain, which includes class DD, to the same attacker's website IP. Now, when the victims try to connect to any of these sites, they will be linked to the attacker website. Finally, after we're done with the configuration process, we just turn on the service to start the DNS server. Now, our DNS server setup is complete. Anyone who tries to connect to our routers will use this DNS server as a default DNS server. This will send out incorrect IP address for a totally not Professor Girl website as we have previously configured. As you can see, it doesn't take much effort to create your very own DNS server. In fact, anyone with a PC and a router can do it. Now that you know how the attacker launches an attack on your device, what could you do to defend yourself from such attack? Firstly, instead of using auto DNS by default, we can manually set DNS to prevent this incident from ever happening. With this method, you can always use the DNS server you trust instead of using DNS server chosen by your router. To do this, we go into the network adapter setting and into the Wi-Fi properties. Next, we go to the General tab. From there will be an option to use the following DNS server addresses. Select that option and then put your preferred and alternative DNS server as you wish. Now your computer will always use these DNS servers. Secondly, in computer security, certificate is a term of what is used to bind the domain name, the server name, or host name to an organization, identity, and its location. With these certificates, we are able to know the identity of the site owner. Hence, we can easily distinguish attackers with this knowledge, as attackers usually don't have certificates because they want to remain anonymous. Thirdly, we can check for DNS servers by using a console command. The command nslookup will allow you to find out what DNS servers your computer is currently using. Lastly, we can flush DNS cache. It is common for your computer to keep a database of known domain name and IP address. To improve the performance, this is called a DNS cache. If you suspect that your DNS cache contains faulty data from the fake DNS servers, you can wipe your DNS cache by using an specific console command ipconfig/flush DNS and set the DNS server to the one you trust. This will ensure that your computer starts building your DNS server database again from a trusted DNS server. These are just a few basic ways that you can protect yourself from DNS hijacking. There are, however, many malicious attackers who want to compromise your security and privacy. That's why you need to be aware of the dangers you face when browsing the internet. DNS hijacking is one of the many methods that can be launched by the attackers. While it is true that there are many security breaching methods outside many users' knowledge, most breaches usually are the result of the user's carelessness. A safe browsing can be easily done once you're well equipped with the awareness to counter the traps laid by the attackers. Thank you for watching our video. This video in particular is created in hope to provide a lesson in concept regarding the DNS server to raise the awareness of these possible vulnerabilities and how to prevent yourself from becoming one of the victims. We hope that anyone who watched this video will learn that no security system in the world is truly secure because the best security system is you.